Today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to tie a San Juan worm. I'm doing a run of videos of really simple flies right now. I've got some buddies who are just starting to tie flies, and I've had a few guys kind of request some simple patterns that are easy to use, get to learn the fundamentals of fly tying and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you guys some of the simple methods of tying that I do. And what we're going to start with today is just a simple San Juan worm. And you can see it's just a little worm. Now this is the traditional way of tying them. I'm going to show you guys how to tie that method, and then I'm going to show you guys how to tie a bead-headed, tungsten bead-headed version to use for Euro nymphing or for fishing under an indicator. So it's simple. Pretty much what we're going to start with is I'm going to use a size 14 wet fly hook. I use a 12 or a 14 when I tie these. Let me find it. And I use a wet fly or a nymph hook just because they're a heavier metal, so they'll go down to the bottom a little bit faster. This is a very easy pattern. And what you're going to use is you're just going to get some micro chenille. And this micro chenille is super thin. It doesn't have long fibers. And it works really well for this. This is kind of the main reason I get this stuff. It'll come on a card like this, and it'll have bends. And don't worry about them bends. They will go away once it gets wet. So you're going to cut you a little piece, a couple inches long, and that piece of thread's all there is to the version that's not weighted. So what I do is I'll start my bead or my thread wrap, and I try to cover my whole hook. I want to get the whole hook covered in pretty good to where it's not showing up underneath there. Some guys don't do this, some guys do. That's the cool part about fly tying, is there's really not a right way. Whoever designed the pattern had a way that they had it in mind, but you know, you can improve or do things different, you know, however you want to do it, as long as it comes out looking kind of like what you want. So we're going to bring our thread to the back after we've made a thread base. We're going to lay this down. We're going to make a loose wrap right towards the back, and then tighten it, and then do another wrap on top of it. And then do just a few wraps. Bring our thread forward underneath the worm. And then close to the head, but not right on the head, we're going to do a loose wrap and then a few tight wraps. Once we get that done, bring our thread forward. Build a decent thread base. Whip finish. If you watch my videos, you'll see I always try to do 2 whip finishes, just because sometimes fish get rough on things and I want to be able to catch more than one fish on my fly. So once I get that done, take my little handy dandy head cement, and I'm going to go across my thread. That's all there is to that one. Once you get that part done, these will fray a little bit. And this is a little bit longer than what I'd like, so I'm going to cut the end off. And probably cut the end off back here. And like I say, you can see where it's got that bend from the packaging. That will go away. The second it hits the water, it'll lose that. So what you want to do is, after you've trimmed it, you want to take and just burn the tips, and you can see how they make it look realistic, and then it won't fray. And there is a San Juan worm. Now, if we want to do a version to fish under a strike indicator or Euro fishing, you can fish that version with a weight underneath, or you can make a weighted version. And what I use is, I got a 14 60-degree angled nymph hook, and I have some tungsten beads, and these are 1/8 inch diameter tungsten beads. And this one I've got here is going to be a slotted bead. I like the slotted beads. They go in and they just kind of make it look a little bit better, and they tighten down really well on the hook. So let me get this thing on. Anytime you have a bead, for you guys who haven't tied before, there is a front and a back. So basically, when you put your hook on, you're always going to go on the narrow end of the hole with the narrow end, and that lines it up to where the slot lies right where it ought to be. So I've got that on. I'm going to put it in my vise. You can see it rides just perfect. So then I'm going to take my thread. I'm going to build a little thread wrap, just like I did in the other one. It's going to be the exact same fly. The only difference is where I take and do my whip finish. So we will take, I'm going to make a pink one. So I'll take my pink. Well, crap, I got green thread already. I will do a green one because I've already got my green thread on. Cart ahead of the horse. I'll bring my thread to the back towards the curve of the hook. Loose, tight, a few wraps. Bring my thread up, and I'm going to bring my thread right to the bead. Now there's guys who will do this differently. There's guys who will put the bead in the middle on some. There's guys who will kind of push the worm up. There's a million different methods you can do, and none of them are really wrong. Now you can whip finish with your whip finisher, or on these that I get kind of high up, I usually try to whip finish by hand, and then I don't have to worry if my whip finisher can get over that or not. So once I have that done, I'm going to trim my thread. Always 2 whip finishes, and there's my head cement. Now this being weighted, I like a little bit longer the danglies, so I'm gonna just take and singe them and leave them a little bit longer, and them won't fray. And there is your Euro version of this fly. So I hope this helped, guys. This is a pretty awesome fly to fish, especially under a strike indicator. I have plumb gotten ate up with indicator fishing here lately, but this fly, it has really good action in the water. You know, fish naturally eat worms. Whites, greens, chartreuses. I've had some luck with some browns, orange colors. You're going to do really good with all those colors. So make it up in multiple colors. 14 or 12 size hooks is what I've been having good luck with. And I hope this helps, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.